in the park community, what do we become as a community of already older folk in the retreat who have been older since day one and who are now needing, assisted living care, perhaps up and down the neighborhood streets, versus the park community whose aging process is going to be more significant? How do we plan for that and integrate?
This sounds simplistic, but it's called turnover in the community. It's called selling those large houses where we've had people with many children living in them and using the schools and so forth. And as they move to something behind a gate or something like that, or a condo, we need to have those original homes ready for the next generation of people who are coming in who want to be a part of Grayhawk. So I think that's what we do. The people that are the older ones, I think, in my mind, are happy and things are going well. At some point, they won't be able to live here anymore, but I think that's just life. That's human nature. Younger families, bigger homes, smaller families, larger homes, and just keep that going in the future.
Yeah, I think one of the things I noticed about this community, and Paul, I think we live on the same street in Coventry, right? And I live on Nestling.
We don't live on the
We don't, but I've seen you over there, right? On one of the walks.
I'm 1 street away from you.
Are you okay? But I mean, over there, one of the things I'm noticing is there's a lot of homes that go up for sale, and it seems like a lot of homes go up for sale towards the end of school years, and it's pretty obvious. They've lived here maybe since the inception, and as the kids get on to college, it's time to downsize. So hopefully families like myself came in and will be here until, thankfully, I love my son, by the way, he's great, but until we get him off to college. But I mean, part of our job as board members, as leaders in the community, is to deal with the hand that we're dealt, right? And so if the community changes, we'll just have to ebb and flow with it. I don't think we have any power within the market to have certain types of people move here, but if the community changes and the needs change, then we've got to be flexible. We've got to change with it. So, yeah, I mean that's.
We have right here in Grayhawk 2 of the finest schools in the city of Scottsdale, and I think that's our ticket. People move to Grayhawk for our schools. We have El Dorado and Grayhawk Elementary, and I've met some of the staff, and they're amazing. And the STEM program that they're doing and the emphasis of those schools. I know of families who purposely moved to Grayhawk just to have their children attend either one of those. So I think that's going to be, in and of itself, going to keep the younger generation coming to Grayhawk. But once they're here, I think we have an obligation to provide respect for those students, to find ways for them to be involved, to get them involved in our events. We do that through volunteer and opportunities so they can get community credits. But the more you put the young people out in front and make Grayhawk a vibrant young place, the more people will move in here. We've already got a great reputation. We just need to build on it. We do have a liaison with the schools. Jennifer and Sarah Van Dyne are very active in working with those principals. And we'll just put our heads together if I am fortunate to stay on the board and continue to think of ways to get the youth integrated in our community more and more.
I think some of the aging of the community is a function of the housing market. I live over in Coventry, and I have view fencing that opens up to a park, and there's a play area. And in the last 6 to 9 months or so, I've noticed when I'm out barbecuing or whatever in the backyard, there's more kids playing on the park. There's like little kids in the swing. And every time I see that, I just get energized. It's just good to see the families moving into the community. And I've got my daughter here, she turns 12 tomorrow. We brought her home to a home in Grayhawk, and she went all the way through Grayhawk Elementary, and her sister's a couple years older than her. And our girls are playing in the parks and in the community still, and it seems to me that it is on the uptick, and there are more kids here, and it's good to see.
That's great. I'm not going to start with you. I'm going to start right in the middle, and he can decide. You thought you were going to get another bite.
All this power. You don't want to become an over 55 community. I think what you're saying is perfect. You want the kids involved. I see you do things at the center that involve the children, and that's what you need to do. The schools are great, In our community in Tesoro, we're seeing more children regular basis now, and believe it or not, people are complaining. Oh, there's too many kids here. Well, guess what? There's not too many kids. Yours are gone, you know. But you need to have the young people. You need the fresh blood, and you don't want to become over 55. You know, park your walker over here, and we'll get you that kind of thing. So I think you're doing the right thing already. Paul, you see again.
Margot, you are correct. You do know people that moved to Greyhock just for the schools, because that's what we did. Yep, we lived up in Cave Creek, and our daughters went to a Montessori program up in Cave Creek. And so my wife did research on what was the best public school in the Northeast Valley. And the scores at Greyhock were off the charts. And so she said, we're gonna open enroll in Greyhock. And at that point, it was very difficult to open enroll at Greyhock. They had to close it. So we opened enrolled, got to know Mr. Heemstra, and our older daughter, Gabriella, started elementary school here at Greyhock. And we liked it so much, and we believed in it so much, that we bought a house on Tailspin, one street away from you. And I will tell you, as the community, I'm gonna stop using that word aging, as we become more charming, I think that it's absolutely fabulous, and we are seeing more kids move into this neighborhood. Our neighbor next to us bought a 3,700 square foot home. He has 2 children that are preschool aged, and they're putting a couple $100,000 into that home, of upgrading their home. And it's because they believe this is where they want to be long-term with their children going to schools. My daughter, Allie, goes to school with Bob's daughter, and I remember very well when our girls used to go run out in the park out there and play in the gazebos, and Bob would be looking over his view fence, and I'd be looking out the front door because we're worried about them. Well, now they're out there running that place. They go crazy. They have a great time. They're in the trees. It's great. But you're right. There's younger kids that are out there now. Our kids look a little older, a little more charming than those little kids. So I would say that we're in the Parkside. We're doing exactly what the Parkside is developed for, and that is for families with younger children. Greyhock Elementary still continues to have some of the highest grade scores in the Northeast Valley, if not the entire state. So we are very fortunate to have such a great school in our community. El Dorado also does a phenomenal job. I would say if there's anything that we would have loved to have had, would be a middle school that would have been a little bit closer. That's one of the things that we didn't have for our kids. Now our kids are going to go over to, at least ours is going to go to El Dorado. I think you guys are, not El Dorado.
Explore.
Thank you. Explore is where they're going to go to middle school. It's a little bit further away.
They both start with an E.
They both start with an E, Explorer. Unfortunately, they're not going to be within Greyhock. They're going to go over and join another school in another community, which would be great if we had a middle school here locally, but we don't. We have a phenomenal grade school program, and I think we should embrace that and continue to support it. One of the things, real quickly, that I think we should also do, and somebody else mentioned it, Margot, you may have mentioned it, I mentioned it a couple times, I would love to have a youth board that would kind of almost mirror what we do. Bring those young children in, whether they're high school, whether they're middle school, and have a youth board that is another board with us that is bringing that next generation of thoughts and ideas and children into our community a little bit.
Ditto.
No,
That's not allowed.
I think a community there's a process involved here. This next statement, Paul, won't include you, but some of us that remember where we lived 40 years ago might have seen a change in those communities. It always seems to go back, areas mature, and then they get younger, and they just keep changing. That's life in general, and that's what I see for our community. The biggest thing, and I think Bob and others have mentioned this, the biggest thing is, you know, when realtors talk about where do you want to live, where do you want to move, location, location, location. We have the best location, in our opinion, my wife's and mine, of anywhere in the city. If we can keep, and I believe these people have done a magnificent job, as well as Mike and Jennifer, of keeping our community, frankly, as it was 17, 18 years ago when we moved here. It's a great community to walk in. It's lovely. We want to keep it that way. And if those things remain, the community will thrive in the future.
Thank you. Last question, and if you'll keep it really short, because it's going to be tough. No room for philosophy, just some concise answers. From my view, in driving around, there are a tremendous number of developments on the planning table, and Paul would be able to speak to that. But we have residential at the corner of Union Hills and Pima. We have more residential south of us along Hayden. We have a huge conglomerate going to expand the Hinkles building and move into that with many, many more people. And we have all the vacant land that is a mystery at Scottsdale and Thompson Peak. But Paul may know the answer to that, but he doesn't get a vote for that, so don't worry about that. Is it our role and how to best accomplish to integrate or protect the community of Grayhawk? Do we become insular and hold on to our way of life, or do we embrace and integrate all the development that comes around us? And I'm going to start with Bob this time.
No, I think we accept the changes and we integrate. I think we have people on the board, and we will continue to have people on the board who will meet with the city to talk about any input that we can provide, and whether it's building heights or whether it's truck routes or whatever the issue is. It's best to work with the government and the other entities that will affect our lives. But I mean, it's just going to be a reality. There's going to be other communities up around us. There's going to be developments, and if it gets too busy for people and we can't, individuals don't want to adjust, it's just a matter of moving further north. Just keep moving away from the city, because it is going to get more populated, and it's adapt to it and recognize it, or on an individual basis, just make a decision that this isn't going to be the place for you.
I'll just quickly remind us that we've already done this. Years ago, there weren't any condominium associations at Grayhawk, and we started building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now 7, 8. And what the board did, and management company, in their infinite wisdom and community enhancement funds, is they found a way to make the condominium associations feel a part of Grayhawk. I remember when there weren't sidewalks that even connected them. And now, through community enhancement grants, the 8 condominium associations not only feel a part of Grayhawk, but they're leading events and doing things. So my point is, we've got the model already where we do embrace what we can embrace. We're cautious about things that are not within our control, but Grayhawk's always been open and accepting and moving forward. And I'm grateful.
I think you have to compete, right? So if we have other residential, if there's condos, if there's single family houses, we compete. We compete to make the community, to be a good attraction for people looking. And so, I mean, that's really all we can do is we can make, it's a market-driven economy, and people are going to have choices if houses go up or condos go up. Are they going to move somewhere that's brand new, or are they going to come in here? And so there's things we can do. On the business side of it, I mean, there's some things we can control, and we can certainly, in my former life at the old community, we would go down and speak with the city and meet with corporations or companies, and we can certainly do that. But I think part of it too is attracting, if you want to attract the right businesses, be good consumers too. And maybe that, one of my ideas is, I don't know if you call it the Grayhawk card or something, but going out to restaurants and businesses and trying to get some sort of discount for residents. Maybe you all have done that already, but we want to make this an attractive place that the right businesses come here. And if it's not the right place, you're not going to get the same types of businesses, or you get extra hospitals.
The North Scottsdale community is where Grayhawk is located. And we cannot be successful as Grayhawk unless we take the communities around us and we collectively together make decisions and choices that are good for all of our neighborhoods. I always have said that you can't be this community right here in the middle and be very successful if you have things around you that aren't successful too. So we need to all work together for that. The Grayhawk board in recent years has spent more effort and time in trying to work with Scottsdale and let them see what we have up here and have us have a more visible role within the city of Scottsdale. And that's something that we will continue to do along with all of our neighbors.
in one word, integrate, because I believe that if you have, if you work with your neighbors, your voice is much more, is loudly heard versus thrown off to the side. I think if you work with people, if you work with your neighbors, if you know what's going on around you, and you have the ability to speak with them, you're going to be heard versus shoved aside, as I said. So integration is my way to go.
I think that question was better put to Donald Trump many months ago, and it was almost verbatim.
But we can't have any of that.
Right now you're competing with the State
And
of
that
the Union
debate turned
message.
into a disaster. So let's move right.
In my former life, my job was to make other people successful. That's your job as a manager or a leader, and I think Linda said it and used the word. You want other people to be successful so you're successful. And that's pretty much all I can say about it. I think that is the most important thing. You integrate. If they're successful, your community is still successful.
So, I've served for a year on the Development Review Board for the City of Scottsdale. I currently serve as the chairman for the Planning Commission for the City of Scottsdale. All of the land that is around us that is undeveloped, by right, is developable. So we really don't have any right whatsoever to resist or say that we don't want it. So with that being said, we have the opportunity to embrace and to influence how it will be developed, because it will be developed. So I would say that having a strong board, having a community that is interested and active, we would want to go out and we want to find out what those developments are going to look like, what's going to be involved with those, and what we would like to see. Each of these developers, they know it's a public process when they go through this, so they want to have our support. Otherwise, it's much more difficult for them to get the support of the city council when they move forward. So I think we have a big influence on what it is that's going to be developed in our area, and we should continue to be very active in that.
Thank you all very much. For the 4 residents that are here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there anything you would like to ask of specific candidates? I think we've had enough coverage of general, overall, 7 response questions. Anything that you would wish to ask of a specific candidate that would help you make your decision about those you were voting for? Seeing no hands raised.
Your hands just moved. She has 2 questions. Can you tell everyone to take their Christmas lights down?
Yes, that it really annoys me if someone leaves their Christmas decoration 3 months after Christmas. They should not be doing that.
Okay,
That's good. There are many holidays we should be celebrating during those 3 months. And I believe that there is a guideline that says they will be down. And we need to find a way to successfully, politely enforce those regulations that we have. And I'm sure each one of these 7 people would agree with you. I know they would, right?
Yes.
If you wouldn't raise your hand, they would not vote for you.
Wouldn't dare.
CC&Rs is one of the most difficult points of living in a community, particularly with investors and renting families and individuals. And our management team is very thoughtful, maybe sometimes too thoughtful. But we have struck a reasonable balance at Greyhawk of gradually enforcing or moving people to change. I know in my community, I spoke with Stacy about one just yesterday, and that is the quick and fast proliferation of extended driveways using brick pavers. Never came before the Architectural Review Committee, very costly to tear out and re-landscape, but nonetheless not approved, and until approved, illegal. And that's going to be an ongoing, there was 1, and now there are 3. And I'm just waiting for the paver truck to roll up with 4, 5, and 6. So those kinds of things are Christmas light issues. And I thank you for bringing that up, because there are many Christmas lights issues. Is there any candidate who feels that I have not asked sufficient probing questions, and there is something about your candidacy that you are burning to share? Wow.
I think you did a great job.
As I said to you all, we are extraordinarily fortunate that we have had excellent board leadership and we have excellent candidates. If it were only so easy, we could expand the board to 9. But at any rate, thank you all for a wonderful set of responses, for people willing to listen politely, and for answering questions honestly. I look forward to seeing you all at our annual meeting and knowing that we're going to have excellent leadership regardless of who may have won those positions. Michael, would you like to say anything as our fearless leader?
Yes, I'm getting hungry.
There are cookies available at the back, and I want you to know I have stretched this sufficiently so that you have missed the opening minutes of the other evening activity.